Hey, it's your girl Andrea B, and welcome back to another amazing episode of the You're Not Done Yet podcast, where your purpose is just moments away, and I'm here to help you get there. Okay, so just a few housekeeping rules before we get into the episode, right? The You're Not Done Yet podcast will be dropping weekly now on Wednesdays at 12 noon. I know that I was dropping on Mondays, but I want to try something new just to see just how it is received. And I hope that you guys will still tune in even though it is on Wednesdays. I'm just working some things out. I'm just dealing with content, but I know it's gonna work out. So let's hop right into today's episode. So this week it's all about it being on you. And I know when you hear that, you're probably like, what do you mean it's all on me? It's all on you. I feel like in life, we put ourselves in situations and we're asking for God to take us out of it because we put ourselves in that situation. God didn't lead us there, right? Our minds led us there. Our emotions led us there. And not once did we ever consider talking to God about everything that's going on in our life, right? So when it comes to your purpose, it's all on you, right? God can tell you the story of your life and for your life 1,000 times, right? But you have to be willing to listen to that story and decide, okay, God, like I hear you, like I want to pursue my purpose. And I know that it's only going to be up to me to do it, right? God can push you and mold you as much as you want. But if you aren't willing to accept that calling and accept the fact that there is something that God wants you to do with your life, that's on you. Okay? And you being frustrated because things aren't working out because you're not in alignment, that's on you. You being down and out because you saw an opportunity that you thought was for you and God showed you every sign of why it wasn't for you, that's on you. When God is telling you that low key it's time for that friendship to end, or low key it may be time for that relationship to end too, that's on you, right? We have to stop trying to make things work for ourselves that God never intended for it to work anyway, right? I know that's easier said than done. And I am a true testament of that fact. I remember when I was going through my season of wanting to make something work with the individual that just wasn't there, and God kept showing me sign after sign after sign, like, girl, leave him alone. Leave him alone, right? He does nothing but cause you hurt, cause you pain, and cause you strife. And all that it's doing is pushing you further and further and further away from what I have called you to do. We tend to let our emotions and the people around us stop us from doing what God has called us to do. But if the shoe was on the other foot, do you think that person would have an issue with letting you go? Do you think that person would really have an issue with saying, okay, yeah, we're over? Because you're blocking what God has called me to do. You're blocking me from my blessing. You're blocking me from my purpose. Do you think that other person wouldn't mind letting you go? Just think about it for a second. Because I feel like we do so much for people. We are so much to people, but when we need someone the most, we only have us to turn to. But the thing is, you should be turning to God, right? You should be turning and getting on your knees, whether that's however you pray, whether that's just sitting up in your chair, in your prayer room, at your desk. You should be praying. You should be praying that, okay, God, I want to do what you called me to do, right? And if that means that I have to let some people go, by all means, I'm going to do that. If that means that I'm still going to have to come into this job every day like I love it when I know I don't, but I know you got something on the other side for me, all right, bet. I'm going to do it, right? If that means that I need to slow down on my spending and start investing in some things to where when it is time for me to quit that job, I already got some things rolling, right? Or, God, I know that I need to do better with making connections, right? I know that I need to do better with talking to those people that may not like me and I may not like them, but God, you're leading me there, right? That's on you. Right? God gives us free will, but he's only going to bend it so far for you to understand that this is what I have called you to do. My son, my daughter, this is what I want you to do. We have to get out of the habit of being so hard-headed, and then we get upset when the answer has been in our face all along. Right? It's on you. It's on you to be obedient. It's on you to listen. It's on you to understand that it's not your job to know the answer. Okay? It's on you to understand that you're not supposed to have it all figured out. That's not your job. Your job when it comes to your purpose is just walking in it, talking in it. That's your purpose. That's your job. Your job is to just say, God, okay, I hear you. I don't know how I'm going to get there. I don't know when I'm going to get there. But if this is what you called me to do, then boom, like I'm going to do it. But we always tend to have to try it our own way first before we try it God's way, right? We have to always say, well, no, put it this way. We try to prove God wrong. When all he doing is just sitting up there looking at us like, yeah, I told you that the first 3 times, but you didn't want to listen. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you that what you think you know, you don't know. Or what you think is right is not right. Right? But that's on you. But then when you get into that space where God had to show you what he meant, he's not going to say, I told you so, because he still loves you. Right? He's not like people. He's not like people that's going to say, well, I told you so. I told you not to do this. I told you not to do that. No, God's like, okay, we done had this little run in. It's cool. Let's move on to the next thing, because you got to elevate. You got to keep going. You got to keep pushing, because there are things that I want you to do, but it's all on you. It's all on you. I don't know how much I could stress that. It is literally all on you, because at the end of the day, each and every single one of us are called to something, right? Whether it's decorating, whether it's speaking, whether it's being a caregiver, whether it's selling products, being a business owner, entrepreneur. We are all called to different things, right? And I love saying this thing that, even though someone may be doing something similar to you or the same as you, nobody can rock it like you can. And I feel the same way about your purpose. No one can rock your purpose like you rock your purpose. And I know I said it a lot because it is just so true, right? Each and every one of us are uniquely designed for something, right? And even though we may have similar interests, which a lot of us do, doesn't mean that you shouldn't collaborate with that person. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't work with that person. It's like, okay, sis, well, you know this and I know that. How can we put it together? How can we put it together to serve God's kingdom, right? How can we put it together to serve God's people? And what I mean by that is that I don't want you to go through life knowing that you had a connection with someone, or you could have collaborated on something, and you wanted to be selfish and you didn't think about the kingdom. You didn't think about the people of God. You were thinking about yourself, right? And like I always say, your purpose just isn't yours, right? But your purpose is for you to act on what God wants you to act on, right? And if God says collaborate with that person, go do it. If God says reach out to this venue, go do it. Regardless if it looks expensive, you've never been there before, you know nothing about it. That's not what God said. God said just do it. Okay? Just do it. And then I think that then we become so hard on ourselves because we're going every which way besides the way that God told us to do, right? I know I'm not the only one. And we just hard-headed, y'all. We're very hard-headed. God has really had to sit me down a couple of times and just say, I didn't tell you to do that. And now you're around here looking stressed and depressed because I didn't tell you to do that, right? We have to get in the habit of listening, right? And the thing is, and I've always been told too, if something is for you, it's going to come so easy. It's not going to make you second guess it. It's going to come right when you need it, from the person that it needs to come to or the thing that it needs to come from. And you don't know, because it won't have you questioning. right? It won't have you thinking like, dang, is this God? Mm-mm. It's gonna be like, oh, the answer I needed. Let's go. You have to start thinking like that, right? God loves you. God has a special plan for you, and your purpose is a part of that plan, right? God has all of our names up there in all of our books. And I'm pretty sure he goes through them things, going through, making edits and making notes, and was like, my child did not do that right. My child, I did not tell her that. But he edits it and goes back and say, okay, well, they got off track, but let's put them back on track. Let's make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. And it may take some time, more time it may take others more time than others, but as people who believe in their purpose, it's all up to us to encourage them to keep going, to encourage them that, okay, yeah, it's a little hard right now, but it's not forever. It's temporary, right? God always comes through when we need it the most, right? He always shows up when we feel like he's not listening to us and when we feel like he's just forgotten about us. He never forgets about us, but it's about you testing your faith. Like, are you really believing what you're saying? Are you really believing what you're walking in? But if you are, all right, cool. Let me throw a little test out there for you, and to make sure that you really believe in what you're talking, you believe in what you're saying, right? Your purpose is bigger than you, right? Your purpose is the thing that's always gonna come back regardless, right? And don't get upset while you're trying to stagger with God and someone else has already took what he said and went on with it. Don't be upset, right? And I always say this too, go at your own pace. And God knows what you can handle. That's why he literally gives us piece by piece with certain things. He doesn't give it to us all at once because, let's be honest, would we really be ready if God gave it to us all right now? No, we wouldn't. We would not be ready, because I ain't gonna lie, I know I won't be ready. I'm like, Lord, I pray for this, but am I really ready for this? I don't know, Jesus. I don't know. But I appreciate the fact that God is patient with us, right? God is patient with us when we decide to answer our calling. He's patient with us. Some of us will dive right in and be on fire, right? And some of us will be hesitant. And it's like, well, God, I don't know, right? But it's up to you to decide what person are you going to be, right? Because regardless, he loves you. Regardless, he's still going to push you, right? Regardless, he's still going to motivate you to do what he's called you to do, right? But he's not going to make it a requirement. He's not going to make it something that you have to complete if you're not ready. And some of us may never get to what God has called us to do, right? And don't let the past keep you from doing what God has called you to do. Don't let hurt stop you from doing what you were called to do. Don't let people stop you from doing what you were called to do, okay? Don't let them do that, because you're going to spend your whole life blaming somebody. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. When you had the resources all along, right? When you had the manuscript all along. When you had the business plan all along. Don't get in that habit of blaming people, places, or things for why you aren't where you are. When all he says is just trust me. I got the rest. I'll provide everything you need. Just trust me. Just trust me. And I guarantee you, once you start trusting him, you will see sometimes the reasons why things didn't go the way that you wanted them to. You will also see why he made you wait, right? You will also see why he said, okay, not right now, but let me give you this instead, right? He substituted something for something. But don't ever find yourself getting upset at God. And I know we all do, right? But all you got to do is just talk to him. Say, hey, God, like, this is what I'm feeling right now. I don't know why, but I'm just letting you know. Like, I'm being honest. And I really and truly feel like that God understands that. I really feel like God was going to be like, okay, like, I hear you, you know. I hear you. You know, I hear you. Coming from parent to parent, I hear you. But I'm gonna tell you why I had to do that, right? Or I'm gonna tell you why I had to turn some things around for you to understand that this is why I did what I did. You got to. So as we close out this episode, remember, it's all on you. Go at your own pace. Take your time. But don't take too much time to do what God has called you to do, okay? The world needs you. The world needs you. And the longer you sit on your gift, the longer you sit on your purpose, the world is missing out. And I want everyone to fulfill their purpose. I want everyone to walk in their purpose. But it's all on you to do it. It's all on you to get there. I hope you guys got something out of this episode. Y'all, I felt like I was preaching, okay? But I do have a special announcement. Join me on March 10th. Save the date. That's all I'm going to say. More details to come soon. Thank you so much for everyone that tunes in every week to listen to me talk about purpose and just talk about why it's so important for you to continue and for you to keep going. Okay? Make sure you guys are following us on Instagram at You're Not Done Yet at You're Not Done Yet Pod, and your host me at It's Andrea B on Instagram. And make sure you subscribing to the channel. We got more stuff coming this year, baby. 2023, we are on it. Okay? Thank you again so much. And this has been another amazing episode of the You're Not Done Yet podcast. And I will see you next week. Bye.